Hello everyone, Cromulent Archer here, and I wanted to do a tier list of all the negative traits in Project Zomboid. I've been doing a all negative traits, one painful year run going on right now on the channel, and it's given me some different insights into how I feel about all the various negative traits, so I thought it would be fun to do a tier list for it. This is just, of course, my opinion personally, so feel free to disagree. I'm going to organize it as S tier are things that basically don't affect your gameplay, free points, down to the ones that are the most annoying is the F tier. So that's how we're going to do it. So we're going to start with, this seems to be in alphabetical order, so this is agoraphobic, this first one here. And the thing about agoraphobic is I think agoraphobic is probably a C tier, because it's being panicked all the time is annoying, but it's not the worst thing in the world, which is why I didn't make it to the F tier, but you can actually also overcome this given enough time. The character sort of adjusts to the panic level. But yeah, it's a C tier because you spend a lot of time outside, and that's a big issue, as you can imagine, to be panicked all the time. This next one is all thumbs, which I will also make a C tier, mostly for just general annoyance level. This increases the amount of time it takes you to move things by 400%, which slows down just about everything you do in Project Zomboid. There's not really a thing that you do that doesn't involve moving something from one place to another. I guess outside of combat. So it's very, very annoying. I didn't really realize how annoying it was going to be until I started this all negative traits run, which has turned out to be extremely annoying. I will put asthmatic in the B tier. Asthmatic makes you sort of run out of endurance faster, which is a problem, but you can always just sort of stop and wait and catch your breath. It's not the worst thing in the world. Claustrophobia, I would have thought, like when I was choosing, there's certain traits that are mutually exclusive, like agoraphobic and claustrophobic, you can't take them both. When I was making the character Max Loserman for the One Painful Year series, I thought that claustrophobic would be more annoying than agoraphobic, mostly because we were starting in winter, and I thought, oh, if he's claustrophobic, we'll have to try and sleep outside, which is going to be super annoying. But I've discovered that the level at which you aren't bothered by claustrophobic is actually surprisingly small, so I'm going to put this one on the A tier. For instance, this house, which I've been living in for most of the series so far, is big enough to not trigger claustrophobic, which this is not that big. Like, it's really not that hard to find a building that's this size. So yeah, the claustrophobic is actually not that hard to handle. So yeah. As a result, A tier. Clumsy, I will also put in the A tier. If you're a person that tends to play the game in a sneaky manner, you'd probably put it lower. But for me, I don't generally play the game super sneaky, so making a little bit more noise while walking around. It's only like 120% footstep radius, so and a slightly higher chance to trip while running. It's not really a big deal. It's extra 20% sound radius. Whatever, it's fine. Conspicuous, likewise. Who cares? Zombies can see you from a little further away. Zombies are going to see you all the time anyways. This is cowardly. It's more prone to being panicked. If you were taking this by itself, it would probably be fairly low. But if you're taking it with, like, claustrophobic or afraid of blood, which is further down the line, you're going to be panicked all the time anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. Plus, you eventually kind of get desensitized, which won't completely negate it, but it definitely takes the edge off a little bit. Deaf is an F tier trait. It's a huge pain in the ass if you play with it. I suppose there are some people who play with just the sound off all the time anyways and probably wouldn't matter that much, but the way that I play, being able to hear what's going on around me makes a pretty big difference. I didn't take it in the all negative traits run though, because it also silences all the sound effects, which makes sense because you're deaf, which makes the listening, like watching somebody play, less interesting to watch. Hard of hearing, I'm going to put in the C tier. Although actually, no, that's going to be a B tier. The biggest thing I find annoying about hard of hearing is the muffled sound of the sound effects. It's like it doesn't kill the sound effects enough for it to matter that much, but the just sort of muffly sound of that it puts on all the sound effects is just more annoying than anything else. Disorganized is an A tier. I mean, it's annoying to not be able to carry as much stuff, but you just adjust. You have more boxes. You don't carry as much stuff in your backpack. Emaciated. This is a trait that you cannot. I actually made a little short about it. This is a trait that you can't take at character creation, but if your weight gets below 50, it shows up. I'm going to put it as a C tier because for those of you who don't know, emaciated causes 40% melee damage reduction, 75% chance to fall if you're trying to climb a fence, 30% endurance reduction hit, and 20% more fall damage. So it's a pretty serious thing that can hit you if you get too low. It does, however, go away if you just gain weight, but if it's there, it's pretty rough. So I'm going to put it in the C tier. Feeble, I'm going to put B tier. It is -2 strength and gives you less knockback from weapons and stuff like that, but it can be overcome. You just have to get your strength up. It just makes you start at a lower strength, but once your strength goes up, it goes away, and so it's annoying while it's there, but not overcomable. Like if you were stuck with it, I'd probably put it in the C tier, but because you can get over it, it's in the B tier. Hardy appetite, I find to not be much of a problem. I'll put it in the A tier. If you're playing on really low loot levels, it could be more annoying, but at the basic levels, eating a little bit more is not too big of a deal. Fear of blood is a C tier because it's annoying to try and keep clean all the time. Actually, I might put that as an F tier. Yeah, I'm going to put Fear of Blood as an F tier. This is actually a funny story. This used to be free points. In pre-build 41, it only triggered when you were doing like first aid stuff, when there was like actively blood around. And so it was just free points most of the time because you just get stressed out when you're bandaging a wound. Who cares? But yeah, this is super annoying. You're just stressed out all the time unless you can clean all the time or change clothes, which changing clothes every day is really annoying. Yeah, having to change clothes in Project Zombie is annoying because it takes so much time, especially if you have to like disorganized, which makes it take even longer. So yeah, and also what I had not realized is that blood on like the walls or the floor also triggers this. So you have to make sure that the place where you're staying is nice and clean and not full of dried blood, which is a little bit annoying, but not terrible. But terrible enough that I'm putting in the F tier. All right, high thirst. I take this all the time. I don't know why I feel like high thirst is not as big a deal as hardy appetite, but I'm putting that one in the S tier, known as free points. This is the free points tier. You drink a little bit more, but there's always plenty of water around. Unless you're playing in some extreme conditions, but in a normal game, there's just tons of water around. Even after the water gets cut off, as long as you're actively looting, every house has several days worth of water in it, even with high thirst. So as far as I'm concerned, free points. So this is prone to illness. It's out of order with the other ones. I don't know why it's not in the alphabetical order like the others, but prone to illness, I also consider free points. You get sick a little bit easier, but who cares? It's you just have to be careful not to eat bad stuff. Other than that, it's pretty much fine. Having a cold is annoying, but even with this, just being warm and safe for a day or so will usually get a cold to go away. So free points for prone to illness. Illiterate, that's an F tier. And I'll tell you why. It's right now it's actually not the worst because you can still use the map, but my understanding is that once the next build comes in, you'll probably won't be able to use the map anymore. But I will also put it here because there's like so many recipes and things that you can't learn any other way but magazines. Like not having the boost, that's fine. It's annoying, but whatever. It's not that big of a deal. But not being able to learn how to connect a generator to a building, despite no matter what your electrical skill is, not being able to tell what berries are good and what berries are bad with foraging, no matter what your skill is. Like all of these things, there's of course a bunch of electrical recipes that you have to learn, metalworking recipes that you have to learn in order to do. All these things that are just gated out of the game for you if you take illiterate. That's why I'm putting that one in an F tier. Obese is a B tier. It has a pretty significant reduction, but you can just lose weight and it goes away. I mean, going from starting weight of 105, getting that all the way down to 70 or 75 to get to normal weight is annoying. It takes a while. But it is doable. And so, yeah, if it was not removable, it would be lower, but because it's removable, B tier. Out of shape is an A tier. It's another one that you can get rid of. Lower endurance, lower strength reduction, but I'm pretty sure you can get rid of this one, right? Yeah, you can get rid of this one. So yeah, out of shape. This is also one that comes, I believe, if I remember correctly, out of shape just gets given to you if you take obese or like any of the like heavy or the extremely underweight or extremely overweight traits. So if you're going to take them, you need to be consider that this thing just comes along with the other one, but you can get rid of it. So, and it's not the hit that it gets you to the endurance and reduction and fitness reduction. I find not that hard to deal with if you're playing a character that is okay otherwise. If it's a character that is just a mess, like Max Loserman on the negative traits series, then it makes much more of an effect. That's not too bad. Overweight I'm going to put in the same place as obese for the same reason. Pacifist is an interesting choice. It provides I think it was a 25% reduction. Yeah, 25% skill reduction for weapons skills. If you're playing a normal thing and you take fast learner from the positive list, these two almost cancel each other out. So you can take this with fast learner and you'll have a fast learner on everything else and almost basic numbers for weapons. I think it comes out as a negative, but it's like a single digit negative. But yeah, for that reason, I'm going to put it as an A tier, I think. All right, let's see. Restless Sleeper. Restless Sleeper is a C tier because it makes it really, you wake up more often. It's harder for you to get good sleep, which affects just about everything else in the game. You can work around it, but it is a pain. It's very much a pain. Eyes short-sighted. It's an A tier. I'm almost tempted to make it an S tier. It makes very little difference. It only affects, I'm pretty sure, it's a small view distance, lower visibility in fade, but mostly it's just a foraging reduction. Like I've never really noticed anything when I'm actually going to put that in S tier. I talked myself into it. I've never really noticed a change from normal game to this with nearsighted, and you can actually put on eyeglasses and negate it. So yeah, that's S tier. That's 3 points. I should start taking that more often. Sleepyhead is not quite as, actually I guess it is as annoying as Restless Sleeper. These two together mean you sleep like 2/3 of the day. But yeah, I have in the past not minded Sleepyhead because I tend to not do a lot of stuff in the late night anyways. So going to bed early is fine, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But it also makes you get sleepier faster, which is always a little bit of annoying, especially if you're playing a low endurance character to begin with. Slow healer, that's 3 points. I don't really care if it takes the guy a little bit longer to get over a scratch or a laceration. And if you're zombified, you're dead anyways. Plus, I usually play with zombification as instant. So as soon as you get zombified, you're just deadzo. So yeah, 3 points right there. Slow learner, I'm going to put as a C tier because it's not absolutely terrible, but it is very annoying because, especially if you pair it with illiterate, but illiterate makes everything worse. It takes so long to grind skills in this game, especially certain ones like electricity. that adding a skill malice on top of it already taking forever is just very, very annoying. Slow reader, however, free points. Usually, like I said, I don't usually do a lot in the late night in the game anyways. So if it takes a little bit longer to read a book, I think it takes 30% longer to read a book. Who cares? Like, does not really affect. It's never affected my gameplay really at all. So as far as I'm concerned, that's free points, and also free points is Smoker. I feel like this one is a well-known one amongst the community. I feel like Indie Stone's probably going to change this one at some point, but it's annoying to find cigarettes in the early game. But once you get going, you will have more cigarettes than you need. Has been my experience. Like you might have spend the first like 5 days trying to find your first pack of cigarettes, but by 2 or 3 weeks in, you'll be drowning in them. So yeah, free points. Sunday Driver. Honestly, realistically, it's probably like a B or a C tier, but for me, I absolutely hate it. I do not like how slow the driving is. There are large distances to cover in this game, and when you're traveling and you can only go 30 miles an hour or 30 kph, it's so slow. It takes forever. So yeah, so realistically, probably should be a C tier. I'm giving it an F tier. Some people consider it free points because they don't want to drive fast. I would like to drive fast. I know I run into things. It's a risk I'm willing to take. But I hate it taking forever to get places. So F tier. I feel like this is going to be my most controversial of all my picks in this whole thing. Thin Skinned, A tier. A tier. It's not quite free points because it definitely has an effect of you getting scratched and stuff more often. I think it's like it affects your ability to go through trees too, I think, right? Yeah, alters chance of clothing being damaged by walking through trees from 1 to 3. That honestly is the bigger deal to me than the getting hurt thing, because just don't get hit, forehead. That's and then you don't thin skin, doesn't matter. This is underweight. Underweight goes with all the weight. Pretty much all the weight traits are going. I'm just gonna put very underweight on here too. All of these, because they can all just be negated over time if you work it one way or another. Although I feel like I bounce back between these two all the time when I'm trying to. It's like real life. It's hard to maintain your own weight. All right, unfit. Unfit is a fitness trait that you can work your way out of, but it is a fairly significant one to start with. So I'm going to put it slightly worse than this one. You can eventually work it out, but it's a -4 fitness to begin with, so not a lot of fun there. Unlucky. I don't feel the difference of. Actually, I'll put it in the A tier. It definitely makes a difference, but you don't know what you don't know. Like you don't know what you're not getting, right? So yeah, I don't feel unlucky. I don't feel the effects of unlucky most of the time. So while it might be making a difference, I'm just gonna put it there. It's fine. Weak is a slightly stronger version of this one. I think, right? It's the stronger one. Yeah, it's the stronger one of feeble. Really, weak is worse than feeble. 6 plus 10. Yeah, weak is worse than feeble. All right, you can work your way out of it, but like similar to this one, I'm going to put it 1 notch lower. And weak stomach is free points. I don't find weak stomach difficult at all to deal with. Just don't eat dodgy food. Like, don't take any risks with uncooked food or too burnt food or rotten food, although I don't know why you would eat rotten food to begin with. If you just don't take any food risks, dodgy berries, then that has no effect. Yeah. So that's my tier list. As always, I look forward to people yelling at me in the comments about it. The weapons tier list I did a while back, I still get people yelling at me in the comments a while, so it's fine. If you want to see all of this in action, I am 100 days deep in a One Painful Year series with all negative traits. The Ballad of Max Loserman. Max Loserman's Painful Life. I don't know. Should come up with a name. If you had an idea for a name for Max Loserman's stuff that he's going through, put it in the comments. And feel free to tell me I'm wrong. But yeah, you should check it out on the channel if you haven't already. Thanks so much for joining me. I am, as always, a Crummy Larger. And I suppose I should put up my slate. So thanks so much for joining me. I hope you had a good time. I am the Cromulent Archer, and I will see you guys later.